everyone, today we're going to be solving for the missing side of a right triangle using the sine ratio. I placed here SO as an acronym for sine. This means sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, because that's the formula for sine theta. Again, theta here represents any angle. In math, we represent angle as theta. So sine theta equals opposite over hypotenuse. So that is SOH. So there's another video that talks about the missing angle of a triangle using sine ratio. I will put the link of that video in the description box below. And there's also another video that talks about how to name each of the sides of a right triangle as either opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. Again, I will put the link of that video in the description box below. So looking at this example that we have over here, so we have a missing side labeled as x. So again, we are going to label the sides here. So if we get 57, so then this is across from 57. So this is the opposite. And 15 here is the hypotenuse. So then we are supposed to use SO for this, opposite over hypotenuse. So we set up the equation that would be sine of 57, which is our theta. So that sine of 57 is equal to sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So that would be x over the hypotenuse is 15. So the angle that we have here is 57. Please remember that I mentioned in the previous video that sine of any angle will have an invisible denominator of 1. So then we can cross multiply these two together, and 15 and sine 57. So then our equation would come out to be x is equal to 15 sine 57. So that's sine 57. So we are going to use calculator to determine this. Again, I've mentioned this in the previous video. Please be sure that the setting of your calculator is in degree. So if you're using the blue calculator, when you hit the DRG here, the degree should be highlighted. If you are using the yellow calculator to check if the setting is in degree, you hit mode, and then the degree should be highlighted. Now, if you're using other calculator other than these two, then you can go ahead and check the answer that we have here. If your answer is different from the one that we got, most likely your calculator is set up to radian, not in degrees. Okay, so let's multiply these two together. 15 sine 57. And the answer that we got here is 12.58. So I'm going to write the x value, or the length of this side, is 12.58. So that is the measure of that side length. So let me highlight this one here. So that's the answer. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. And when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, so we go over this problem here. So again, this is angle 74. So the x here is the opposite side, and the 25 is the hypotenuse. Opposite over hypotenuse is a sine. So then we can set up the equation here as sine of 74 is equal to the opposite is x over the hypotenuse is 25. Please remember that, again, it has an invisible denominator of 1. And then from here, we can cross multiply these two. So this should come out, x is equal to 25 sine 74 degrees. So then if we use calculator for this, our x is 24.03. So this is the length of x. Did you get 24.03 for x? Good. Perfect. Now this time around, we will have the third problem. So this is a little different. There's a little twist to this problem here, because if we label these parts, we have our 8 will be the opposite, which is across from 25. So this one right here is the opposite, and the x is the hypotenuse. Now look what's happening here. So if I set up the equation, that would be, since this is opposite over hypotenuse, we're going to use sine. So that is sine of 25 is equal to opposite 8 over hypotenuse is x. So the x now is in the denominator. But pretty much we do the same thing exactly how we did with the first two examples. So then from here, I cross multiply So this x in sine 25 and the 8. So this would come out x sine of 25 is equal to 1 times 8 is 8. And so from here, I want x by itself. So I will divide both sides by sine 25. I divide this by sine 25. So I cross the sine 25 out. I'm left with x. Again, if we use calculator on this, so let's see what we got over here. So we have 8 divided by sine 25. And the answer is 18.93. So if we round it off. So this is 18.93. So that is the length of the hypotenuse. At this time, I would encourage you to pause this video and try this problem out on your own. Solve for x, and when you're done, unpause it and check your answer. Okay, we go over this. Again, we label these parts. 25 is our opposite, and then x is our hypotenuse. So we're going to use the sine. So to set up the equation, that would be sine of 37 degrees is equal to the opposite is 25 over the hypotenuse is x. Again, this one is an invisible denominator of 1. And then we cross multiply these two together to solve for x. So we have x. So I'm going to use a different color of pen for that. So that's x sine 37 is equal to 1 times 25 is just 25. We divide both sides because we want the x by itself. So we're going to divide both sides by sine 37. Divide this by sine 37 so we can cross this out. If we use your calculator, the answer should be 41.54. Did you get 41.54 as your answer? Good. Perfect. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!